What's up guys, I'm Carton, and in today's video I wanted to talk about the differences between the original AMP1 Silver Edition and the newer AMP1 Mercury Edition. So I'm going from this standpoint in this video as more of a player and just focusing on the differences that make a difference to me as a player. Not as much all of the technical little differences. There are not that much. It's mainly just a voicing thing, but let's check it out. By the way, I will be using this Gibson custom light Les Paul with Solodallas SD71 pickups. I do have a coil split on the neck pickup that I might engage for some cleaner tones. So let's check out the differences. By the way, I will be focused on the vintage and the classic channels. I will not go over the clean channels as it is not my thing. I'm more of a rock player. So let's check them out. So to start out, for the sound comparisons, we have both of them switched on an AB box. They are both coming out of the 8 ohm into a BluBox with no load. The AMP1 does not require a load because it's not a real tube amp as such. It does have a little nano tube in the power section to get some compression, but it's not really an amp that needs a load, so there you go. We do have two identical BluBoxes with the mic position in the center detent. The sensitivity switch is on low, and then we have the cap type on the 1970 cap, the one that Thomas likes as well. It's a really great cap in my opinion. So everything is the same. They are both running into my interface here, and we will be running the volumes the same on both. At the moment everything is on about 5. The boost on the custom control, which both have the same custom controls, is set on 0. The tone control on the classic channel is all the way to the back, which is the most dark kind of setting, which I like, and the volume of the classic channel is in the middle at the moment. So let's check out the differences. So to start out, I will go over a few of the obvious differences that there are that you might want to know. So you might want to check out second-hand AMP1 Silver Edition because they are cheaper than the Mercury, because they have been around and some guys want to get rid of them. Why wouldn't you want the Silver Edition? Well, there are a few differences. So the Silver one has something in the power amp section where it changes a little bit for every channel so that it sounds optimum. And that's nice for the main sounds, but one problem that you can have is when you're using a looper pedal in the effects loop. It's a really good effects loop, but because the power amp changes a little bit, it means that if you are switching channels and you're using the looper, the playback that is played on another channel when you switch will sound louder or less loud depending on which channel you are doing. So if you are a looper guy and you're planning on changing channels with this one, it might not really be the best thing to go for the Silver Edition. If you stay on the same channel, no problem, because the power section will stay the same, the volume will stay the same, no problem. But that is not a problem on the Mercury because the power amp stays the same. There is no change, so you can switch channels, loop, it's no problem. Another thing that I noticed is that the reverb sounds different. I do prefer the one on the Mercury, but we will check it out at the end of the video. So now let's go ahead and compare the vintage channels. When the input light on this BluBox here flickers, it means that we are using the Silver Edition. When the input light on this one flickers, it means that we are using the Mercury Edition. I will try to let you know which one we're playing, and I will guide you through the changes that I'm making on the top panel as well as on the custom controls. So let's start out with the silver edition, everything on 5, and I will maybe try to change the master depending on what the input of my interface is saying. Okay, so the first thing that I'm noticing is that the original silver edition with everything on 5 sounds a little bit more gritty, and it seems to be louder on the vintage channel than the Mercury with the master at around 5. But again, that can change depending on the power amp setup for each channel. So, okay, let's dial in a good sound on the Mercury, and then we'll see what we can do on the silver. Again, the Mercury was the first one that I got, so I'm more used to it and I know how to dial something in. We'll see what we can do with the silver. Okay, so to kind of go over what I did, so I dialed in the sound that I liked on the Mercury, which I really like. It's really nice and clear, punchy, articulate Marshall sound that I really dig. It reminds me a lot of my Solodallas SD50. It has a really nice growl to it, really great sound. Really love that. On the silver edition you can get some great similar tones as well, but I feel like it's a bit more speedy. As Thomas said, it's based more on a JTM 45 with a worn out rectifier tube, so it does sound a little bit gritty, and that's why I like to run the treble a little bit lower on this. But I guess it depends on what kind of player you are. If you like that gritty kind of more tweedy JTM 45 type of sound, I like to run the gain just a little bit higher on this one. But in general, I like the gain around 5 on the AMP1. And yeah, that's the sound that I have at the moment. I was liking it pretty nicely. I do prefer the Mercury at the moment, but if you like those vintagey type of tweed-esque sounds, maybe the silver is more for you. The boost was set on maximum on both on the end. Sounded really nice. Let's go on to the classic channel. So now both are set to the classic channel. Again, I will start out on the Mercury because I know it the longest, and then we'll go ahead and go over to the silver. Okay, so after comparing the vintage and the classic channel on both, I guess you can hear that the most difference is in the vintage channel. It's more kind of a JTM type of sound, with the silver one a little bit more tweed-esque. And then again on the classic channel, there's also a little bit more of that classic type of fizzle going on there, a little bit more on the top end there. The Mercury just sounds more focused. It sounds more like a good old Marshall to me. So that's why I would prefer the Mercury in most situations. But if you like the good old kind of fizzle and that kind of JTM type of thing, then you might prefer the silver. So one more thing I wanted to check out is the reverb. So I will go to the vintage channel and I will compare the reverb on both and roll back a little bit on the volume and see what that does. So, okay, let's start out on the Mercury. Okay, so there you have it. That was the comparison as far as the reverb goes. In my opinion, the reverb is a little bit better on the Mercury. It seems to be more defined, more spacious. If you use less of it, it's more effective. I hope you get what I'm getting to there. It sounds more like a nice full type of sound. Here you have more of a springy kind of sense that does sound a little bit cheaper to me. It's a little bit more boing-esque. It's not really that spacious and nice quality reverb that we have on the Mercury, but nonetheless it sounds both great. So yeah guys, there you had the difference between the two. As far as it goes for me, I like the Mercury better. It seems to be more my type of amp. Still love the silver. If you're going for the classic channels, they are pretty much similar to me, and they do sound a lot alike, so I do like that. If you are mainly focused on the classic channel, I think either would be great. Although the Mercury sounds still a little bit more defined. So yeah, it's that, and the silver one is a little bit more vintagey. Yeah, the main drawback is that thing in the power section if you're using a looper. Other than that, it's mainly just tones. This one is more vintage. This one has a little bit more of that later 60s Marshall growl to it. So yeah, that's it. Really like both. I will use both for whatever it's worth. I do have a lot of Marshalls, and it's the same with the BluGuitar AMP1s. Have a lot of AMP1s, have a lot of Marshalls. They're all great. So yeah, that's it. I hope you liked it, guys. Really been enjoying my AMP1 Mercury edition. I did want it as a backup for a real Marshall, but now I'm liking the tones so much that I'm really kind of struggling getting to the real Marshalls to plug them in and use the load boxes and stuff, because yeah, these amps are just the Marshalls of the future in my opinion. They're so much lighter, they sound just as good. Especially the Mercury, in my opinion, sounds just as good as a real amp. The technology is there. Can't wait to see what they will do with the Amp X. Hope you guys dig this. Again, beware of the little side pots if you are checking out a second-hand one and it looks a little bit beat up. Mine is in very good condition, so I don't have any problems with it, but look out for it. Again, I guess the guys are sending out the pots. If you want them, you can ask for them. And I don't know what they're asking for it, but I can't imagine it will be much. So yeah, that's that. I will see you guys in the next video. Also, the BluBox, amazing piece of kit, guys. If you're going to gigs, you should be checking out one of these for your mic sound. The 1970 stack is really great. Plug this in between your head and your cabinet, XLR out, really great sound. We'll do more videos on all of these separate things, but for now, this was the video on the comparison.